out of the 7 deadly sins, I think I'm gonna start with greed. Okay, so greed is a fear-based emotion. It's a spiritual signal that your soul is feeling unsafe. If you're a child of the king, you deserve everything that comes with the kingdom, okay? But because you've refused to go past the survival mindset, the poverty, the thing that you went through, you become a slave to the sin of greed. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy guys to be here. So for those who don't know me, my name is Julia. I make content around personal development, growing your money, growing your business, growing yourself mentally, emotionally, all around. Today's topic is about something people never talk about, and that is greed. Okay, as you know, most of us struggle with one thing or another. Okay, so if you're not struggling with anger, you're struggling with pride. If you're not struggling with pride, you're probably struggling with gluttony. If you're not struggling with envy, you're struggling with greed. If you're not struggling with greed, probably you're struggling with lust, because you're human beings. Okay, I feel like people shy away from talking about these things because it sort of triggers what you're struggling with, yeah, as a person. Okay, so out of the 7 deadly sins, I think I'm gonna start with greed. I don't know if I'm gonna make it as a series or I'm just gonna talk about one or two of the 7 deadly sins. But if I end up making a series out of the 7 deadly sins, I hope you can just come along and just also have your input on what you understand about these things, because we are here to educate each other. Okay, greed is not just about money, it's not just about being selfish, it's about fear. Okay, so greed is a fear-based emotion. Yeah, it's a spiritual signal that your soul is feeling unsafe. When you talk about greed, what are we really talking about? When people hear greed, they think about billionaires and wealthy, or someone who is never satisfied. I think that is the general definition of when it comes to what greed means. Okay, because greed is a symptom of fear, the way I've said, the fear of not having enough, the fear of being left behind, and the fear of being forgotten. Every time you meet someone who is greedy, it's because they are going through this. People don't know how to act on their emotions. They tend to look for a way to navigate that situation no matter what happens. Okay, so when you see someone who is greedy, just know they are fear-based. They are fearing something. They are fearing probably where they came from. Okay, because I don't know if this is true to say, because I don't know, this is not a study. Okay, I don't have facts, but the thing that I know, anytime you meet such a greedy person, someone who is always looking to accumulate so much for themselves, it always stems from people who grew up in a background where they never had enough. It's very rare, and there I'm saying it's not facts, okay, so correct me. It's very hard for someone who came from a background where they were taken care of, yeah, for them to be greedy to such magnitude. Not to say that people who grew up in good homes are in sufficiently better environment are not greedy, but high chances are any person who you find wanting to accumulate so much is because they grew up without. Yeah, so they're trying to never go back to where they lacked, so they will do anything and use all means to gather and gain so much for themselves, because they fear going back. They fear how they grew up. Let me tell you guys, I'm gonna say this. For those who grew up in very humble background, when I say humble background, if you grew up without shoes when you're going to school, there are people who grew up and they went to school without shoes. That's a fact. There are people who grew up and when people were told to go home for lunch, they will not go, because they knew even if going back home, they will not find anything. That's for sure. Okay, there are people who we had a hard time when it came to bringing things to school. Like if there was any sort of requirement and your parents had to buy these things for you to take them to school, and you knew there was no way that your parents were going to afford to actually buy for you those things, and you knew that the teacher was going to sort of embarrass you in front of the class, or you knew that other students were going to laugh because the teacher said, I want everybody to bring this number of pencils or this number of whatever they were required. I'm telling you, if you've been embarrassed and you've gone through a situation where you saw how you struggled having clothes on your back, and you had to go to, if you had to go anywhere, and you saw how people treated you because of the way you dressed up. Let me tell you, the trauma that is left with you carries you to your adulthood. Okay, so when I say greed is not evil, this is what I mean. I don't think it's evil in the sense that this person is sincerely coming from a place of just trying to protect themselves from ever going back. I think if you've ever gone through school and you've ever grown up lacking the basic essential, like lights, like you actually had to cook without lights, or you had to use, I don't know, peppers to cook because you didn't have charcoal, or you didn't have a cooking oil, and you had to use water to cook. It's genuinely a traumatizing thing that some people prefer, that they will do anything and everything than to go back to that situation. So this fear that how you saw growing up, or what you went through, or what you see, or you saw your parents, or you saw your mom struggling to actually even put food on the table, and she denied herself eating that food because she knew the food was not going to be enough. Or you slept actually on, there used to be a mattress, guys. I don't know, this is trauma. This is so traumatizing, I'm telling you. There used to be a mattress that was the fitting, not the fitting, the inserts of the mattress were not actually sponge. They were different things like fabric and sisal. They will stuff them in the mattress so to make it look like it's a mattress, but it was not a mattress. So when you sleep on it, it actually becomes so flat, like it's not the normal mattress. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, if you've ever gone through that journey of poverty, the fear that you have of ever experiencing that, or even putting your children through that, can be so paralyzing that some people never get out of that survival mode of, I am never going to go back. Okay, so when you see someone trying to gather and accumulate and hoard, it's just they fear where they came from. They fear that if they don't accumulate enough for themselves, if they don't accumulate enough for their children, if they don't accumulate, they fear that they are going to sleep hungry. They forget they are doing fine. Okay, you see, guys, you are here as an adult to go and save yourself, the child that had those childhood trauma. You're no longer that child. You saw what you went through, but you're not that child. Knowing what you know, going through the education system, having interacted with people, understanding a lot of stuff, you're not that child. But some people are still in their mind, they are still that young person who suffered through high school, who suffered where they lived, who suffered lacking water, lacking food. In their mind, they are still locked in that trauma of lack. So when you see someone, they are older, but they're operating from a place of greed, because in their mind is locked. Their mind has refused to grow past, or to go beyond, seeing that they now can save themselves from that trauma. That it's okay to not accumulate excess just because you feel like you're going to go backward there. Okay, so Ephesians chapter 3 verse 20. This is what the Bible says. Now to him who by the power at works within us is able to do far more abundantly than all we ask or think. Okay, so guys, you're not in a survival mode. I know it is such a traumatizing situation, but you're no longer there, because the Bible is very clear. There is so much that is given for free. You're no longer a slave to your past. You're a heir to the kingdom. If you're a child of the king, you deserve everything that comes with the kingdom. Okay, but because you've refused to go past the survival mindset, the poverty, the thing that you went through, you become a slave to the sin of greed, because you keep wanting to protect yourself, protect your generation, protect the children of your children because you fear they might go back there. Okay, so many times greed shows up in people who have been abandoned emotionally, financially, spiritually in the past. Okay, so it's not something that just happens overnight. Okay, so greed, this is what greed does. It tells you to hold on. So because you fear this might be the last amount of money I get, you fear like I have to keep this, I have to, I never want to go back. And this reason, that's what I'm saying, greed is not evil. It's just that once you come to the awareness of why am I still in the survival mode when I know that tomorrow, my tomorrow is taken care of. Yeah. And let me tell you, I'm not saying now you become you start acting out of order because you think your tomorrow is taken care. I'm not saying now you become reckless. That's not what I mean. I'm saying now you understand that no matter how much you hold, no matter how much you accumulate for yourself, no matter, you can never fully feel okay, not unless you actually release that trauma of I'm never going to get enough. To how much do you think you're going to accumulate for you to cover to your children's children, okay? And because we're human, things are bound to happen in our lives that everything can be wiped in a second, okay? So there is never enough. You have to get past that, okay? So the greed whispers to you, don't share, you might lose everything, yeah? Or I don't need to share because what will happen to me tomorrow? What if I need that thing tomorrow? You've seen people who accumulate so much, even to release the things that they don't use. They're afraid. They always are afraid to release them because they think, what if tomorrow I need that shoe? But they have never worn that shoes in the last 1 year. Yeah? Or what if I release this thing that I've not been using, or I might never be able, what if I need it later in life, okay? You just take more, just in case. You always, and let me tell you, you think everyone thinks about greed in terms of billionaires, but you don't see the small acts of greed that you do, the small acts of wanting to just take in case, just in case. Let me tell you guys, this is my story, okay? And mine, it might look like it's such a minute thing, but I used to have a problem, guys. I used to have a problem. Every time I would go to the market to buy tomatoes, it's like I never had enough. I don't understand where that thing came from. I would buy tomatoes from this station. Then, if I go to another person and I see more tomatoes, I don't know. I just feel like, just in case I don't get to come to the market again, just in case, what if I need to do this and this? What if tomorrow tomatoes will have gone up in price? I am telling you, when you see people accumulating so much and wanting to put just in case, it's because they have a trauma. So now if I take, nowadays I'm just like, but tomorrow or next week you're going to go to the market, you will find tomatoes. But for me, it was like, just in case I need bigger tomatoes, just in case I want this unripened tomatoes, just in case I take the ones which are not completely ripened and the ones which are ripened a bit, and the ones which I don't know where that thing came from. I will take more than I need, and I will take, and if I see more, I take. I don't know, it's something. So when you see people talk about greed, don't look at it like this big action. There are small things that you do, just keeping things and being afraid to release them because you keep feeling like, what if I need it? And you've not needed it for the last 1 year. You've not worn those dresses for the last 1.5 years, but you keep feeling, just in case, okay? So what really happens when you see someone does that is that what is really happening is that your soul is crying for safety. Greed is a form of fear for you to look when you're looking for safety, right? Because you just fear. You're never safe. You don't know when you have enough money to be safe. You don't know how much, if you need to get out of this survival mode, how many houses do you need for you to be safe? How many... You always feel like you have to have a safety net so that if this is not there, then I have this, okay? Let me tell you guys, this is it. Once you become aware, and that's what I'm saying, people, no one is here to judge, because why will someone stand and judge you when they are also dealing with another sin, or they're dealing with something that the people are not aware. So for me, that's what I'm saying. Awareness is what brings you to just understand, why am I accumulating so much? Why am I taking and taking? Because guys, the reason why I actually I feel sometimes that we need to talk about this thing is because the amount of corruption, yeah, the amount of people taking and taking, not wanting to understand. You know this thing called bursary. Bursary here in Kenya, I don't know if this happens everywhere, is where there's a system where the children who need to go to school and their parents are not able to take them to school, there's something called a bursary where money is allocated to needy children so that they can be educated, okay? And you see, guys, this is what I'm saying, and this is a cry for help, that when you see someone take this money for themselves to just cover them, like they don't now care. Now the greed has no boundary as to who they are going to take from. Greed has no, oh, this is for the bursary, let me not take this amount of money because these children are not going to have enough to finish their education. Let me not take this money from the health sector because most people are going to suffer from if I take this money to myself, okay? So they, in their mind, they are still stuck in I don't care what I have to do or what needs to be happening. I just need to take this money and keep for myself because I never want to. So greed is a very selfish thing. It's not only a selfish thing, it is selfish plus fear, because you keep wanting to feel safe. So they will take. This is a problem. The implication of greed is that it becomes worse, okay? Greed is such a cancerous thing. What happens is that every time you keep doing that, taking and feeling that you need to be safe, it doesn't know any limit. It doesn't know to what end do I get enough. It doesn't understand that I can't take from this. It does not have boundaries. So you start small, but the way you grow, you never understand why now you don't even care who it's going to affect. You don't care. At this point, you just want to take to save yourself from that, okay? So greed has implication to your inner self. This is what I say. You see, you can take as much as you want. You can steal as much as you want. You can accumulate for the sake of, and your accumulation is not even, now it's not even about using your own money to accumulate. You understand what I'm saying? Now you go above and beyond because you want to accumulate, you want to feel safe. You don't care. You will take it from your brother, you'll take it from your mother, you'll take it from your sister. You will do anything just to make sure you sort of have this an illusion of safety, because it's an illusion. You keep feeling like if I take enough, I'm going to feel safe, okay? So what are we talking about? Because it's a fear-based, it has implication, inner self implication. You see, when people do things, when you do things, we know who we are breaking. It's our inner self. It's our spirit man that we are actually condemning. Physically, we may look okay, we might accumulate that amount of money, we might take that whatever to just, and the outside we look okay, but our spirit man is crying. Our inside is conflicted, because you know your spirit understand that's not right, but your spirit is conflicted to what you're doing, okay? So when you become the implications, here are the few implications that happens, okay? You disconnect from trust and flow, okay? You stop believing that you're supported by something bigger. You're in constant striving. You cannot rest, because if you stop resting, what if this amount of money finishes? So you have to keep chasing because you're afraid that, because I'm still waking up to go to work and I need this, my expenses are needed. So you keep feeling like you need to gather more to feel safe. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? So you never rest. And then you don't believe that you're here because you are created by a higher power. You keep feeling like, I have to take care of myself. I have to look after myself. I have to take care of my generation. What an illusion. That's an illusion, because there's a higher power that understands you more than you can understand yourself. Okay? That you're not just here to accumulate for yourself. You're not here just for yourself. You're here for a bigger purpose. You're here to do other things. You're not here for yourself, okay? So you disconnect from the trust of that I am provided for, that I can rest assured that if the birds of the air are fed every day, that I also can be taken care of. So you're always on survival mode, looking to do something, take something, accumulate something, because for you, you don't trust in a higher power. You trust in yourself. You trust, I have to take care of myself, okay? Number 2, you have distorted identity. You start to believe that your value is equals your possession, right? Because you keep feeling, I am this person because of the things that I have. If I didn't have these things, people will not respect me. If I didn't have these things, people will look at me in a certain way. So you start now having believing that your value comes from your possession. That's why you never stop, because you keep feeling like if I don't have this, people will not respect me. But that's not true. We have people. Respect does not come from how much you accumulate. I told you guys, there is something internally that sends a vibration of what the kind of person you are. Let me tell you guys, you can have so much, but people still feel like you're not a person of value. How many people have you ever met? They have so much, but you look at them, and there's something about them that is no essence. I don't know how to say it, not in a bad way. Like there's something that is lacking there. Okay, so you cannot. So when you don't have much, you don't feel like much. You feel like the more I have, the more I am becoming. You understand? So you equate your value to your possession. Okay? Number 3, your inner rest, guys. Let me tell you, when you hear people say, I don't have internal peace. I don't have internal peace. I have everything, but I lack peace within myself. This is what they're talking about. Because in your pursuit to accumulate what you need to accumulate, you forget that your spirit man is crying to understand, what are we doing? We're not here to do that. So let me tell you, the biggest battle is your physical and your spiritual man. So when you're in conflict with these two, you're always going to feel so restless. You're going to feel lack that peace, that inside peace of, I'm going to be fine. We are going to be fine. It doesn't matter what happens, we are going to be fine, okay? So when you have this conflict, internal and external conflict, you're never going to rest, okay? So you are never satisfied. There's a mental noise, always thinking, planning, fearing. Like you're always planning and fearing to no ends, okay? You feel unsafe even when you have. Let me tell you, those people who are greedy, they have, but they never feel like they're safe, so they have to go out and look for other way. You've seen these people who they are doing this business, or they are doing this and this and this. They want to put their hands in everything, and in a greedy way, not in a, I don't know how to say it. They want to put their hand, and they don't have good intentions. It's just, I'm just like, you look at them and you're thinking, isn't that enough what you're making here to just rest? But they can't rest, because for them, they have to take care of themselves. Okay? So you understand now, there's someone who believes that I have a higher power, that God is always looking out for me, and even for tomorrow will be taken care of. And someone who thinks I have to take care of myself and my future and my generation. Do you think this person will ever rest? Because to what end, to what space do you get and say, this is enough for me, and this is enough for my whatever, and that I'm okay to understand that if I empower my kids, their generation will be taken care of. That if I don't need to take care of them in that way of accumulating so that they never lack, that if I empower them and I support them, they're going to also accumulate or make for themselves what they need to make for themselves. What is to say that your kids are looking for whatever wealth you're going to leave for them? Why would you think that everybody wants what you want? Your generation might not want what they want. Your generation might not want what you want. Okay? So you understand this. Are you seeing the conflict of these two people? Okay? So another thing, the fourth thing that greed does is that broken relationships, the way I've said, people become tools. You look at people, what can I get out of this person? How can I use this person to get to where I'm going? So you're always looking at people not as people. You don't have genuine connection. You don't have honest and genuine relationships. You're always looking at, what can I get from this person? How can this person help me get to where I'm getting? Okay, to benefit you. Okay, so love for you becomes a very transactional thing. It was never a loving relationship. It's always, what can I get from them? Because you see, greed is very selfish. It's about me, 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 me. So you always end up hurting people when they get to understand you're using them to get to where you're going. You're using them to get that promotion. You're using them to get that deal. You used your mother to. You can even use your close relationship to just get what you want. Okay, so it has no boundaries. So you have to be really aware. Another thing that greed does is that it's a starvation for gratitude. You see, gratitude helps you to stop and think, I am grateful for today. I am grateful for where I am. I am grateful that I have lights in my house. I'm grateful that there's water running on my tap. I am grateful that I have food. I'm grateful that today I woke up and none of my child is sick. I am grateful that I have clothes on my back. I am grateful that I have these wonderful friendships. I'm grateful that I got time to I got to spend time with the people I love genuinely. I'm grateful that I can call my friends and they can come through for me. I'm grateful that I have relationships that support me. I am grateful that every day I am healthy. I'm grateful that my kids' school fees is paid for. I am grateful that my business. You are grateful for your connection. So it keeps you in the present moment. Okay, so when greed comes to you, you're looking for the, how much can I get for the future? How can I take care of myself? So you get out of the gratitude to get to where getting to what you think will help you rest. And when you get there, you also are looking for something else to make you rest. And then when you get there, so you never sit down to just say, I'm grateful for today, that the sun is out, the sun is shining. I'm grateful for this and this. Because you're always having gratitude to get more. Okay, so gratitude and greed cannot coexist. You cannot be a person who appreciates, a person who has gratitude and also be greedy. Okay, these two cannot coexist because gratitude is rooted in abundance, but greed is rooted in scarcity. You understand? So these two cannot. Greed focuses on what is missing. Gratitude focuses in what is now, what is current, what is my current situation. I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm okay. Tomorrow, we wake up tomorrow and we hope for better things, we pray for better things. So gratitude gives you that space where you just sit and say, I'm happy, I have enough, I have more than enough, I have more than, because what time is this? I have parents, I have siblings that I love and they love me back. Okay, so you sit in this moment of whatever we are looking for. I am grateful for today, that even tomorrow will take care of itself. And not to say that you're now lazy. It just means that you move in that gratitude. You move in, I get to work, and whatever comes out of my hands, and whatever comes out of my business, whatever comes out of my work, I am grateful for what I have currently. Okay, so you see, you can't mix the two. You have to choose your battle. Are you going to stay in gratitude, or are you going to stay in greed? Because one is abundance and another one is scarcity. So you choose which side you want to stay in. Okay, another thing, the sixth point is that greed gives you shame, guys. You see, even those people who do what they do, because your spirit man knows that it's wrong what you're doing. So you're always ashamed. You never feel the satisfaction of just being. You're always ashamed. Because eventually greed leads to guilt. You feel guilty. Because once you do use people, you know that thing was bad. So you have self-disgust. You're like, what kind of a person I am? I'm even using my own siblings to get where I'm going. So you are left with that mark on yourself that was not right. But you see, it doesn't know any boundary, okay? Because deep down, you know, isn't your higher self. You know your higher self will not do this, okay? Greed makes you, it nudges you. You've forgotten your health. You've forgotten that God provides for you. You've forgotten, and it just nudges you to come back to the truth of stay in the present moment, and everything is going to be taken care of. This far, guys, that you have reached is not because of your doing. Let me tell you, the lie will be like you think your doing is what has brought you here. You have sometimes you sit down and look at what you've been able to do, and even the finances that have been provided for you, and these two don't even correlate. You can't even understand, how was I able to do this with my little salary or with the amount of money that I'm getting? But because you're staying in gratitude, you just, things just open up for you. People are just sent your way. It's amazing how gratitude helps you to just expand instead of greed, of just trying to take and take and take, okay? So I want you guys to remember this thing when you think about greed, that you're safe, guys. You're okay, you're safe, that you're supported, that you do not need to cling on survival or to survive, that abundance flow to you when you're in peace and not panic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.